Joe, you guys
Hey,
had
guys, for
9
starting up
turnovers
with
in the
Joe
second
before
quarter,
you
only
hit
11
the
for the
podium.
game. Did you see
We'll get other
something in
people
that
on in a minute.
quarter there with all those?
I mean, some of them were live ball. Some of them, yeah, they just, like I said, I think that unit in the second quarter and the fourth quarter was the difference in the game, their ability to turn us over in both of those quarters.
Joe, were they the harder playing team tonight?
No, I thought they were more physical, which is a difference there. I thought, and again, it's easy you look at the entire game. I think that to me, it comes down to, we go, I think, at 9 in the third quarter, and they cut it to 1, and then the fourth quarter. So I thought in spots of the game they were more physical, but they weren't both teams played harder though.
It seems like, I mean, everyone would, but you had trouble with the speed of Hyland and DeSomo. Like both those guys are blazing. Like,
no, they are. Yeah.
How does that impact?
That really impacts it. Like I thought, when we missed layups and we weren't able to get our offensive rebounds, they took advantage of that with their speed and getting out in transition. That was a huge difference in that second half with their speed and their ability to create off the dribble.
What can you take from this? Can you take something constructive from this?
I mean, I think it's we've sat here, after wins, after lose by 10, lose by 1. I think it's the same. I mean, I think you just pick the 10, 15 possessions that you have to get better at. We get better at practice on Tuesday, and you win the next one. So that's the whole key, to the season is whether it's a win or a loss, can you just learn from it and move on, and applies after situations like this as well. Thanks.
That is Joe Mazzulla press conference here at the podium. Quick and dirty there. Joe taking a little bit of a responsibility for the loss here, because as everybody saw, that fourth quarter, the non-Tatum, non-Brown, I think, and Joe alluded to it, the second and the fourth quarter units that took it to him, for sure. But the non-Tatum, non-Brown minutes were bad. And no, I'm not ducking Sam Hauser. I would have pulled him from the starting lineup. I thought it should have been Sharman, but Sharman had a rough one too. Jimmy Toscano, we got him some new tech. He's working on it behind the scenes. He's gonna get there. We think he's gonna get there eventually. And join us on the show. Bobby Manning's gonna be live from TD Garden. Sherrod Blakely, maybe. Things could happen. Sherrod could be there too, but I don't think anybody expected this. This is not going to be a John Zannis solo show. I promise you that, but we are going to go full Garden Report here. And we have kicked off our March Madness bracket, and that's where we're going to get things started as well. So a lot to talk about tonight, but again, a very, very, very surprising result. And no, I promise you, Andrew, it's not just going to be me. Other guys will be joining. Jimmy was on earlier, but he had to duck out for a little technical stuff that he's dealing with. But I did see Joe Mazzulla pop up on the podium, and I wanted to jump up there and get him live on the show. We'll hear from whoever else talks at the podium today. We'll talk about Tatum, of course. Tatum, another Tatum game that we either are or aren't allowed to talk about. I don't know. Some people don't like us to talk about it, but there's some stuff to talk about here. What exactly went wrong? I don't know. I usually flush these, but I think it's fair to look for things that might be actual issues going forward. I don't know if there were any tonight, but this was an ugly game. I do think physicality, as Joe alluded to right at the end of his press conference, this team, it feels like no matter which iteration you get, they're always struggling with physicality and speed. And they got beat up tonight. They really did. And you don't like to see that. If it's just miss games, all right, well, we got good looks. You can live with those. I don't love it when they kind of get bullied, and they did get bullied a little bit tonight by the Timberwolves, who really, they muscled them, they pushed them around, and they struggled with their speed. They got boned. Bones Hyland was everything we expected Bones Hyland to be. Hi, Jimmy. You look weird.
I can't fix it.
We'll have to live with it. Anyway, this is Slender Jimmy Toscano. That's what we're dealing with tonight. The Garden Report starts now.
Always has to be a shot at somebody.
I know.
They're never clean.
They have to run. That's the only shot they have.
They do it for 82 games. We're about to find out.
He already has shown what he's capable of.
Did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there.
This makes me think that we do need to be humble.
I actually think you're the only one who deserved that beating.
Oh, Jimmy.
Hey,
We sent the internet doctor to Jimmy's house today, and this is what we got. We got squished head, Jimmy. We got Beetlejuice, Jimmy, tonight. That's what we're dealing with. That's okay.
it's just the way. And honestly, on top of it all, I got like standard definition here.
Things are bad.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please tell me you can hear me. I can't have you be
Yeah, I can hear
skinny
you.
and not here. Okay. It can't all be bad.
can hear you.
Something has to work here.
I can hear you.
This is terrible. You're like on a 20-second delay. What did Amit do?
Hold on, I'll be right back.
12-second. My God. Guys, can we pull this together? Can somebody give me the bracket, please? No, not like that. The one where I'm on the side of the screen. The one underneath the screen. Anyway, March Madness bracket style is happening right now. You guys can see it. Well, you could see it, but you'll see it again coming up. We are kicking that off, and I think we have something in the voting right now. So I did want to announce that before we get to actual basketball stuff and get through whatever the hell is going on here with our technical issues. But you see the bracket here. We are in the phenomenal region, and we're going to be running it all night long tonight. Throughout the game, we're going to be putting up various polls, starting with the 1 versus 8 matchup, which is Where's Noah versus Mo, the Knicks fan. And I can't believe Mo's not in here already to troll us after this loss, but he's not. For those people who are not initiated into what we do, these are Garden Report isms, or things that have become little kind of things or jokes or stuff that we talk about on the Garden Report throughout the course of the year. And we have, Mo the Knicks fan versus Noah. For those who aren't familiar with what either of those things are, here's a little clip to get you up to speed. We will start with Noah. What I'm worried about is what is going to happen. Let's put up Noah to the chat when they see this. Okay, this is what I'm worried about. What are people going to do?
Oh my God.
When they see this,
We need the fireworks. Where are the fireworks? Where are the fireworks?
There you
What?
go. She's
what are
here.
people going to do? Noah! They're screaming in the chat. Noah can't see it, but they're chanting Noah's
Wow.
name. Noah, we missed you.
Stop the presses.
And that's the Where's Noah going against the Mo, one of the most hated / loved guys who's entered the chat this season. Started last season when the Celtics lost to the Knicks. Here's a little taste of Mo.
I was ready to turn it off.
Timeout. I just wanted I want to give a hat tip to Mo for coming in here. I've left this one up here, but Mo showed up. I was just going to call out for him, but go ahead, Jimmy. You said the game the way it started
I'm glad
out.
Mo showed up too, because he's very active, should we say, in the chat. So
That's it. That's Mo. That's Mo, the Knicks fan, who's been spamming our chat nonstop since last. He became a fan since last Celtics Knicks playoff series here. Oh, you voted Mo. Wow, wouldn't that be something? What if Where's Noah went down? That would be incredible. We are waiting for Jimmy Toscano, and again, we'll live with skinny Jimmy, we'll live with delayed Jimmy, but we need some form of Jimmy to join in here. And as I said, I'm going to leave up phenomenal region Where's Noah versus Mo, the Knicks fan, for as long as possible. Here, maybe about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll move on to our number 2 matchup, and let's see what the next matchup we will get to is. We'll go later in that bracket. Number 4, did Tatum practice versus the media game Beatdown, which, by the way, I do want to point out, there hasn't been another media game. Joe promised it. All the media that got their butts kicked were like, dude, this is bonding. We're going to do it all the time. Nope. Didn't happen. Joe got it all out of his system. He broke them. And then that's it. Moving on. to there. So let's get into tonight's game. And again, I don't know where you guys. I'm guessing people will be all over the map on this one. I really do think it was a pretty not great game for a lot of different reasons. One of which we mentioned, the physicality, and they didn't do well against that. But if you're just going to look at the moment, where it went down, it has to be that fourth quarter. And thank you for the super chat. We'll get to a couple of those as well here, and I will answer those. It's got to be that, right? I've hated it. I have hated from the get-go the non-Brown, non-Tatum minutes. I don't understand it. I understand it to a degree. I understand it because you're building Tatum up minutes-wise. He's been started at 27. Now he's kind of settled in the 31, 32 range in terms of where you're going to play him. So you can't run it exactly the way that you're going to run it, where you've got one of those guys out there all the time, especially if Brown's going to play considerably more minutes than Tatum on a regular basis, which, again, not hugely. That wasn't the case tonight, 35 to 31, but that's kind of where Tatum's been now. The back half, and this is what now, game 10 maybe of him coming back, game 9. He's up to around this point, but Joe's been doing this kind of on the regular, and I don't love it. And it really, really, really burned them. I think the Celtics went a stretch of 17 consecutive missed field goals during that portion from the end of the third through the fourth. And even when Jaylen came back in that fourth quarter, they went to, I think they gave up, it was a 15-0 run, maybe worse than that. That's kind of really what put the game away for Minnesota. But I don't know. I can't see what the strategy there is. And I know a lot of people, and I mean, no, Joe doesn't need to get fired, but I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of bummed about that. And I didn't love it for sure. So I thought that was bad. That happens, though. You can fix rotations. And I think Mazzulla's been 70% of the reason they've been as good as they've been here. Really, guys? We've turned on Joe? This is my fault. Jeez. Yeah, people are mad, but I think people are looking around the board and, right now no one wants to blame Tatum for anything because he's Tatum and he's working his way back. And we're just lucky to have him, guys. We're just lucky. He shouldn't even be there. Shouldn't even be out there, guys. So you're not allowed to criticize Tatum. And I honestly don't even really care to. I'm just curious how much more of him we'll see throughout the year or trying to figure out whether this limited version of Jayson Tatum you can live with. And if that's the case, how far you can go with that. And again, limited, I mean, he's still a good player. He's still a really good player. He's not there. He probably is not going to be there. And you can see it. You can see it throughout portions of the game. But we're going to live with that because that's what's realistic, and that's fine. Jaylen, sloppy iso ball sort of game, which is first one of these in a little bit. I'm not super worried about it. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. You're amazing.
Okay, we're going to give this a shot.
Don't give it a shot. Just do it. Just stay there.
I was like really high on this show, new internet setup thing going on, and just apologies to everybody watching from home right now. We'll get this figured out.
I want you
John,
mainly to
hero
apologize
ball.
to me.
Hero ball from John to start this one. We love it.
I
We
didn't
absolutely
want
love
it. I didn't want to go ISO the whole time here, but my team let me down. We were talking about the fourth quarter. 15 points on 5 for 27 field goals. And yeah, it started with that ugly ass lineup that Joe had out there. And again, he's been surviving the non-Jaylen, non-Tatum minutes that he's been trying to put out there. I don't think you can. I don't think that can be a regular thing. And I think he'll figure out that can't be a regular thing. And when Tatum ramps up and he's up into, the 33, 34, 35 minutes a game, I don't think you have to worry about that as much. I think he has so much faith in Derek White that he thinks he can get away with it there. And he has largely gotten away with Hugo, and Derek and like the hustle guys and the guys who do everything right and play smart. Even when they haven't scored offensively, that lineup sometimes is put up. I forget which game it was, but they went which game was it? They made it almost halfway through the quarter and they'd only scored 7 points, but the other team had scored 2. So those lineups have won ugly just through like grit and hustle. But like tonight, they just couldn't keep it up. And, you mentioned it, like some of our standbys, the hustle guys, the grit guys were getting bodied tonight. And it wasn't pretty, Jimmy.
It wasn't. And Bobby mentioned it in the text, John, but the record against, playoff teams or teams with, I forget what his actual wording was, but good teams basically is starting to become a concern. It's certainly a question how the Celtics are faring against, teams in their, top teams in the league, teams that you could theoretically see late in the playoffs, in the NBA finals. And it feels like, again, what we talked about, you can get by with effort as long as you can in the regular season against certain teams. But at certain point, everyone's going to be. You there?
Keep going.
Did I lose you? Okay. At a certain point, those teams are going to meet your effort level, and it's going to come down to talent. So that's why I think the concern with this team tonight, you had the effort guys. Shireman, I would say this is not a game that Noah and Bobby are going to want to put on his highlight reel. I think he got overmatched at a lot of points this game defensively. And, guys like, Nazir and some of the other bigs were just having their way with the Celtics team. The physicality still seems to be a problem for the Celtics team. And I think even more so now when you get a player like Tatum, who is obviously not leaning into physicality. I wouldn't say that he's avoiding it, but I mean, I think based on where he is right now in his recovery, he's certainly not looking for it. And I think you're going to have an issue when the playoffs come around and the physicality turns up, how this team is able to respond. And
yeah,
that to me is a concern.
There's a lot of worse. Like, that's the thing is, like, I'm not going there because I don't think one game tells a story. Not a full story. It's just a game. But if you were to list your fears, right? List your fears about the Celtics.
Ooh, how much time you got? Oh, okay. So,
but I mean, that's kind of like the things I've talked about all year. And the reason, like, I'm like, okay, it's great they're winning, but the fears are that, which is, well, they've beaten a lot of teams that have been without their best players and half the league is tanking. They're winning with a lot of hustle and grit, but you're worried, what's going to happen in the playoffs. They don't have a good record against winning teams or high caliber playoff teams this year at all. So those are all the concerns. But then the reason you wipe a lot of, and the guys you're getting huge contributions from, are they going to turn into pumpkins in the postseason when it gets tougher, when it gets more physical? And again, I'm looking at you, Garza. And, anyone watching tonight is feeling the same feeling. I'm looking at you, Baylor Shireman. I'm looking at you, Sam Hauser. I'm looking at you, Peyton Pritchard. Like, these are guys. And again, I mentioned Pritchard because he's a guy you need now. He's not a luxury. He's a guy you need, who has been a reduced version of himself the last 2 years since he's really come into his own as a sparky bench plug, a spark plug scorer.
Yep.
Garza, that could be fool's gold here. Can he hold up in the postseason against, a real competition? I don't know. I don't know. So you're worried about a lot of that stuff. And then there's the Tatum elephant in the room, which is like the reason people felt they were like, well, they did all of this. Sure, John, you're right. Or sure, those things are real. But Tatum changes all of that because when he comes back, it doesn't matter. They elevate, right? But Tatum's still figuring it out. Who is he? What is he going to be? He's clearly settled into a secondary role, a facilitator role. It doesn't suit him well. Watching him sit in the corner is weird. It's off. It doesn't make the Celtics better. It doesn't make him more useful. It's just, I don't know that you can go into your old Tatum role right now. So you're going to go into the old Jaylen role. And that doesn't suit Tatum right now. So you're trying to figure out what's going on there. And then the other question is, well, what if this is it? What if this can't jump, can't separate, can't turn the corner on guys regularly version of Tatum is the Tatum? Does your ceiling change? Those are all the scary things, which could all go away and could all be fine. And they could just be like, doomer fears, but and then you saw all of them tonight to an extent. And when you see that, you feel a little icky, which is why people in the chat want to fire Joe and say Tatum should have never come back this year. that's again, Garza sucks and Hauser sucks and all of these guys suck. You're worried about some of those guys sucking. And yeah, you know, so again, and this is the other one. And you know, Judah makes a good point where these are two different conversations, right? In these, we're having two different conversations. Expectations are raised. And with Tatum back, you're wondering if he can help carry this team that we think is playing well above its head. And it's all gravy at this point. Fool, absolutely. Like, it makes sense in what Judah's talking about. We weren't supposed to be here anyway, just enjoy the ride. But that's not how people work. Right now, people legitimately think that this is a championship team, and falling short of it is going to make you upset. It's changed. So that doesn't hold anymore. Well, Tatum shouldn't even be playing right now. Well, then maybe he shouldn't be playing. Like, since he is, all you can do is judge everything on what's going on right now. And that's
why? Yeah. I mean, the players aren't treating it that way. You think the players
it's
are like, oh, well, we shouldn't even be here.
I actually don't enjoy it. I'm not enjoying it.
Shocker.
No, but I mean, like, I don't enjoy Tatum struggling. I expect it. It's normal. I'm not enjoying it. What you want to see is him starting to look and feel like himself to a point where you're like, this is going to work. Because if not, it's going to be a weird, ugly, icky ending to the season. And all of this good stuff that's happened all season long is going to feel a little bit spoiled. So I don't think you can. I've enjoyed every moment up until now. Now it's about your best player came back. You're trying to integrate him, and you're trying to see whether or not this is a legitimate championship team. That's it. Now it's a championship team. You're back. You are. It's who they were last year. I expect a championship now, or a championship run.
Right. Yeah, expectations have changed.
Everything before that was great. I enjoyed the hell out of it. This was a wildly entertaining season. Now it's about gearing up for the playoffs. It's a different thing altogether. And so that's what you're looking at now. What's going to work? What's not going to work? If everyone turns into a pumpkin and everything that we saw during the entire regular season was fraudulent, what was the point? You know, what did we gain? What did we learn? Just fun? I don't know. And no, don't change the poll yet, guys. I'm going to switch it out to another one in a minute.
Yeah, John. I mean, listen, I'm right there with you this whole season. I mean, I've enjoyed the hell out of it. I think anyone who's watched the team this year has been surprised, whether some of us have been more surprised than others. Certainly. You've gotten some great things, some great contributions from players that you didn't expect it. Kada being one, he's probably the poster boy of that. And certainly Sharman getting a lot of opportunity in the second half of this season. And you've just gotten some help from players. You found out that Ugo might be a contributor on this team and in this league. So, if he was a hit in the draft, we always said, who's going to be with you after this season? If this was a quote unquote gap year or whatever, it became that it wasn't one. It became that, okay, these guys are fighting for a 2 seed right now. And then, oh, wow. Now it's saying, well, Jayson Tatum might be coming back. If he comes back, they're no longer fighting for, a 2 seed. They're fighting for an NBA championship. And I went on the show and said, Tatum is going to be the difference between contending for the Eastern Conference title and contending for an NBA title. And I still think that's the case. Now, I'm not surprised to see him hot and cold out there. I think the one thing Judah's right on is I think the Tatum stuff is kind of bonus, because I think there were a lot of us that didn't know if he was going to be back at all this season, or certainly be back in time for the playoffs, which he has been, to ramp up in time for the playoffs, which I think he has been. Now, John, they're not like, they're either going to win with Tatum or lose with Tatum. And I know right now he's deferring a lot more, but that's going to have to change if you're Tatum. And I think it will. Guys, I just think right now he's still feeling things out.
And I have to throw this out there. Guys, you can't do this. We can't have conversations if everyone's going to say, wow, it's one game and you freak out. We're literally just reacting to hypotheticals. What ifs? What if you run into the playoffs and all of that stuff that you were worried about ends up being the case? What if these guys can't hold up? What if Tatum wasn't fully ready? Then you lose. That's what we're talking about. It's right now you're treating this team. This isn't your kid who you're happy. Okay, just go have fun. It's a real thing now. It's a real thing. And now you're talking about how's it going to look in the playoffs against real teams, deep playoff runs and and trying to win another title. We're done with the whatever. The standard has raised. So yes, how they perform on a nightly basis, how they look, how they gel, how Tatum reintegrates himself, that's really all that matters, okay? That's it. And yes, we have a show to do tonight, guys. We can't come out here every single night and be like, you know what? We're just lucky
Doesn't really
Tatum's
matter.
playing. We're just lucky. We're lucky. The whole thing is lucky. Jimmy,
Yeah.
do you feel lucky?
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's
I'm
glad to see
having
him out
fun.
there.
I'm having fun. You know what's fun? This is fun, damn it. The bracket. Vote on the bracket. We're moving on. We're moving into the second region, okay? It doesn't mean it's over. We're going to run this one another time. It's not over. You got a lot of opportunities to vote. You can vote on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Spam the votes. We don't care. We're going to add them up from every single source. It's not just the chat. And we're probably going to run the whole bracket again, another game, okay? All the way through the week until we whittle it down to 8. So there's plenty of opportunities. But Where's Noah and Mo the Knicks fan is done for tonight. Right now, you have an opportunity to vote on.
It started.
Did Tatum practice versus media game beatdown? For those unfamiliar with those things, let's give you the Tatum practice moment, which is really more of a Bobby Manning and Joe Mazzulla moment.
Jayson practice yesterday.
He was at practice.
Did he participate in any of it?
That is perfect.
The Joe death stare to Bobby
Perfect.
Manning. Did Tatum practice? That's a good one, man.
Speechless.
And that's taken on one of my favorite stories of the year.
You're not playing against each other. You're playing against the coaches.
Bobby, don't make the company look bad.
Rio was as close as it got.
I don't want it. You take it.
He literally just threw it right.
They're good. They're good. Oh, Bobby. Oh, Bobby.
Oh, no, Bobby.
Good job, Lo. Good job, Bobby. Way to be tough out there. Oh, shit.
Oh,
not again, Jack. Oh, shit.
Oh.
That's the bucket.
All right, Bobby. Head up.
Yeah. So that's the voting right now. That one's open.
Those are two good ones, man. That's a tough first round bracket.
Tough one. And as I mentioned earlier, what did I say when that happened? There will never be another media game for the rest of eternity. There will not be Joe, we're gonna do this every month. It's bonding. Nah. Joe got what he wanted out of that.
Nah, you got your beatings. Everyone's still licking their wounds from the media game. Yeah, that's
so
tough.
friggin' funny. Anyway, so we do have that, guys. Please check that out and give a vote on it. We'll continue talking about the game. We're getting Bobby Manning on in a little bit. No one else at the podium. When you lose a game like this, you don't do a lot of podium interviews. So we'll hear from some of the guys in the locker room in just a little bit. Before we get to that, we do need to tell you about our pals over at PrizePicks. And again, tournament time, Jimmy. I didn't watch a single game. I'm not gonna lie, not one.
I didn't watch till today. I just watched a couple. There was a couple good endings today, but yeah, I haven't watched it all. I didn't even make a bracket this year.
Iowa, Florida. I didn't do anything. This year. I'm just kind of taking it in.
Except PrizePicks. I've been
PrizePicks. So again, playoff push heating up. Tournament hoops are here. No better way to cash in. If you're right on the high flying hoops action than PrizePicks, where it's always good to be right. Every bucket, every dime, every win means more when you're playing on PrizePicks. And PrizePicks has its new team picks markets. You can now pick game winners, spreads, and totals on top of the player picks you already know. So cash in if you're right during all the clutch buckets, slam dunks, Cinderellas this spring with team picks on PrizePicks. Otherwise, you know how this whole thing works. If you're just playing it straight up, it's 2 to 6 player stat projections, mix and match sports, doesn't matter. Stick to one game, stick to one sport, whatever you want to do. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Lots of opportunities to win big with free squares or discounted squares. You can sneak into your lineups. As I mentioned, the PrizePicks, that's a really fun add-on that you can do during the tournament here. So again, go check it out if you haven't already. The tournament picks thing is a ton of fun, honestly. Download that PrizePicks app today. Pick your first game winner, spread, or total as the playoff push rolls on. Get 50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. All you got to do is download and use that code CLNS. Again, code CLNS, get 50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right.
Right.
It's good to be right. So moving on, Jimmy, again, not to get doomy, but not a great game on the concern meter.
I have a bunch
low.
of concerns. I
have a
would
bunch
love
of
to play
concerns,
panic
but
meter tonight.
they're rolling, and we are going to play the panic meter for sure. But one thing I do want to say here is super chats, because I do want to get to them. We have a few stacked up, and I don't want to leave them before we do get them. If you support the Garden Report with super chat donations, it goes to all of the hosts, which is great, and we do appreciate that. So if you want to make a donation, hey, we're down. We like that. And we put the comments on the screen and we talk about it. And that's what we're going to do. So we'll start with a few of them here. We'll start with John, food truck. We got to get there, man. We're coming.
Weather's getting nice. Food truck season's coming up, John.
But Tatum getting stuffed in the corner as much as it seems on TV. Am I super focused on him right now? Offense does seem better when he's involved, initiating. I can't remember if I said this with or without you, Jimmy, but I agree. I don't like him in the corner role there. Yeah. I don't like it.
He's taking on the Robin role. And I don't think this team is at its best when that's where he's at. And I think they need Jayson Tatum to be as close to Jayson Tatum as he can be. Obviously, we know that's not 100% right now, John, but him deferring and him second guessing or him just kind of floating around, that's not going to do it. That doesn't make you a better team. And I give it a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there, John, because he is coming back from something. I don't think you're gonna get that consistent Jayson Tatum type performance. I liked what I saw in flashes in that third quarter there. Got a little bit more aggressive, saw a couple of shots go down, but man, to go an entire first half without scoring, that is prime panic right there. That is prime panic. And we heard from Jaylen Brown before the game. They had a conversation. You know, they know that they are going to be as good as the team's going to be as good as they're going to be together. I wonder if they're thinking too much about roles and about who's doing what and how to coexist instead of just playing basketball. And like, two extremely talented players should be able to lead this team. And again, this was against a good opponent, John. The Minnesota Timberwolves are one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Talented up and down. This wasn't supposed to be an easy game, but the Celtics let this one get away.
No Anthony Edwards, so it
really let
was.
Minnesota. Yeah, that's a good point. There is always a player missing, but they're still talented. I mean, they're still big. They're still physical.
They're good. They're a 6 seed out west, but yeah, they're it's a quality team. You know, I think.
Are they 6? I thought they were like 4.
No, they are where they are right now. But again, they're a talented team. There's no question about it. And you're
right. They're 6.
You don't like to see it. John already also kicking one in here. We don't need to talk about it, but no, if Jimmy had to take a dump, he would announce it with a big juicy fart right there.
Jeez.
I mean, he doesn't hide from these things. He doesn't hide from them.
And it never will.
Benjamin, that's mean and derogatory. I thank you for the donation. I'm not putting that comment up, man. I'm sorry. Hey John, why do these types of losses happen more often when Tatum is on the team? Not blaming him, but it's a crazy coincidence. 2023 season vibes recently. I don't think that's it, but I think it's what Jimmy said.
$20.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think it's what Jimmy said, and I don't have a problem with it. What's weird is the experimenting with Tatum to let him get a feel for his game seemed to only last a few games, and then they went and stuck him in the corner and said, Jaylen, it's your show. I do think You got to let Tatum cook. I do think you need more Tatum on his own lineups out there to have the ball in his hands and be the facilitator. I do think you got to not really care about wins and losses and seeding right now, because the most important thing is to have Tatum kind of feeling good about what it is that he does here. What do you do here, right? Because right now I don't know what he does here. What do you do here? I don't know what he does, Jimmy. Because right now he's not,
he's been settling a lot, John. He's been settling.
He's settling. He's not quick enough to turn the corner on guys. He's sometimes running away from the ball on offense, but he's also doing it in a deferential way, not just I don't know if I can do it way. I think you got to just kind of let him try to cook a little bit and just be sloppy and messy for you have to put the ball in his hands more.
Yeah, you'll accept that.
No, but I mean, I said that earlier. I was like
100%.
Just let him do it. So, Cool Che 84. Can we kill the Garza Glaze? Yeah, we kind of did. He can't hang on the playoff front courts. We talked about it. I'm a little worried.
Against his old team tonight.
With Hugo, play your best players, limit the drop. Yeah, we might have look, we said this last game, Jimmy. Are you playing Garza over Vucevic? Maybe, because Vucevic is going to come in cold and raw, and he hasn't really been integrated. He wasn't playing great. I really think you're going to split it. I think the center rotation is going to be Queta for 24 minutes, and the other guys split the other 24, and that's probably how they'll play it. Maybe a little bit more for Queta, depending on the game.
I think we said Garza would have to play himself off.
Maybe, but I think Vucevic isn't going to go away. So I think Garza and Vucevic are going to split minutes, but it's also going to be a bit of a problem. And yeah, you don't want to play drop, and you don't want to put those guys in space. Queta had a couple good series tonight, defending in space, and he can do that better than the other guys can. So I don't know. Duncan D's JB tried to have an MVP game today. Terrible tunnel vision. Yeah, he did. It looked like all Jaylen Brown was doing in the fourth quarter was trying to get his 30. It was a bad JB game. He tried to force the issue.
29 points on 26 shots. Yeah, that's not typically what you want to see from him.
Yeah.
I hated that fourth quarter. Coming out so flat the way they did after the way they came out of the second half. In the third quarter, I thought that they were going to ride some of that momentum. And they let Minnesota climb back in. Jaden McDaniels is a legit player, John. Obviously, he's no Anthony Edwards, but he got hot for them. He plays great two-way basketball. It just felt like that Minnesota team, they just instilled that will that you oftentimes see the Boston Celtics instill. That's more their style of play, but you gave Minnesota life tonight, and that was really all it took. And I don't know. I got concerns with Tatum. I have concerns with some of the bench unit tonight. I have concerns with Hauser right now. Another game with Hauser not really doing much offensively. Just 2 points again tonight, 4 shots, nothing from behind the arc, and he's still in that starting lineup, John. And I don't.
Breaking news.
I know why he's in the starting lineup. It doesn't feel like it's working. What's up?
Breaking news. Fat Johnny's food truck is being sold. Moving on to other things. Appreciate the love regardless. Can we get a burger before it goes? Oh, that's tough.
Well, John, it is tough. You know what? Maybe if we had gone, Fat Johnny's would still be serving burgers. So that's
our
on
fault?
us.
Shit.
It's not our fault, but I don't think we helped the situation. I didn't know it was shutting down.
Celtics potential frauds. This is what everybody's worried about. Someone called Garza cute last game too.
You weren't allowed to say that. You weren't allowed to say that all year though, John, because it was just, just happy to be here.
Look, I've been doing what Judah was doing earlier. I've been doing the happy to be here all year, but deep down I've been dubious. Like I still don't believe it, but crap. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. I thought the 2013 Red Sox which had like a historically good season, were eventually going to crash and burn, because I was like, I can't believe these guys are doing it.
Nobody came on to them till late.
Yeah, I was like, they'll eventually. I was like, they're going to choke in September. They're going to blow like a 10-game lead. No, they were dominant. This team's been great this year. So I wanted to be proved wrong, but the back of my mind has always been, I don't know. They were amazing. I know. I never believed it. It was hard. I couldn't get on board. I thought they were
Napoli, dude.
I thought it was smoke and mirrors. It's a fun season. I mean, amazing season.
Awesome season.
If 2004 didn't happen, we'd be writing books about 2013 as the most amazing Red Sox season of our lives with the bombing and everything. I mean, that was ridiculous. Ridiculous. So
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Awesome team. Fun team. Those are the years when the Red Sox ownership cared about winning.
Those were good times. What a battle. The 4 versus 5 is tight, as it should be. That's a good one. Let's put it up here. We're going to switch polls in just a little bit here. Harrison, let's switch it in like 2 minutes. After I play the clips here, let's move on. I want to show you guys what we have next in our polls. Here, let me get this off the screen. We're still in the phenomenal region. We've done 1 versus 8, and 4 versus 5 is going on right now. And again, the voting does not end tonight, so don't worry about it. We are moving on to Bobby had 6, which Amit cannot find a clip of, but was friggin' legendary. I don't think
couldn't
he found
find it.
Did he find
I thought he did find it.
No, he couldn't find it. But I was a
We
giggling.
have to find that. Otherwise,
I was a giggling mess
lose.
that game. I know. But we
Bobby
do
comes
have
on. Bobby comes on the show and he goes, I had 6.
I had 6.
I had 6. And we all were like, what did he just say? We were like,
What was he
congratulations,
talking
Bobby.
about?
That's awesome.
What was he talking about?
He had picked, like, the series went to 6 games. So his
yeah.
prediction was something
Bobby
in
had
6.
6. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I had 6.
It was playoffs.
Yeah, it was playoffs.
Amit was right. It was playoffs last year. I had 6. That was Bobby, but we do have Fun is a Myth, which was Joe Mazzulla versus a kid reporter. Let's put it up.
Pushing players to improve while also keeping the game fun for them.
I struggle with that, to be honest with you. I think everyone has a different definition of fun, and you have to find one as a team. And, I think fun's a cop-out sometimes when things aren't going well. Everybody likes to say, well, let's just have fun. And it's like, well, what does that mean, And so, I think you have to define what fun looks like as a team, and then you kind of have to go after that. But, that phrase can be a cop-out sometimes. So as you get older, kid, don't use it, It's like, I just want to have fun. It's like, well, what does that mean? So, you just got to define that. It's a good
Zero
question.
fun,
I struggle with that.
Thank you.
Yep.
The kid was like 9.
Poor kid. Kid went home and cried. He's like, are we not allowed to have fun? We
Joe Mazzulla said, I can't have fun.
He said it was a cop-out.
He said I'm a fraud. He's just a kid. That's so good.
That is a peak Joe Mazzulla.
It was earlier in the year. People asking when this was. It was a press conference earlier in the year. And, normally these things, how these go. Like, hey, Joe, how awesome is it to coach in front of these fans? And he's like, oh, and
how
they just
fun!
play
How
ball.
fun is it?
And he just looks at me and goes, kid, don't go believe in it. And, there's no Santa Claus, and your dad's not as tough as you think he is. He probably gets beat up a lot. Yeah. Okay. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Poor kid.
Poor kid. Anyway, we do have Jaylen Brown tonight. I believe this is current Jaylen Brown. I got so many clips in my feed. This could be like a million years old in one of the bracket things. But
remember we did that once. Played the wrong sound.
I played Josh Minot sound from like a week earlier, and I was like, pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think that was about this game though. I was like, I knew it. I was like, I hope the chat doesn't know it. And everyone's like, that was last week, right? I'm like, damn it.
Immediately.
Here's Jaylen Brown after here's Jaylen Brown after tonight's game.
Yeah, they were physical. They played fast. They definitely
physicality
upped their level of intensity, and we didn't necessarily meet the challenge. So that's what the story of the game was. We got to be better. We got to be ready for that, and that's uncharacteristic of us. We usually are a harder playing team, and tonight Minnesota was.
Jaylen, obviously, I know you can watch film and stuff on it, but that ball pressure and physicality, what do you think would have been the key for you guys sort of getting around it, especially in the fourth quarter?
Just creating on our own space, driving with more physicality. I feel like I had some good looks at the basket, but even being a little bit more patient. I don't feel like I was as patient as I needed to be this game for my team, and I feel like that ultimately cost us. So, learning from these games and being better going forward. But give credit to Minnesota. They went smaller, they played faster, they got more physical, and they made shots more than they put pressure on us too. So, not a characteristic game of us, but we learned from it and move on.
Was there anything specific about their physicality and ball pressure that you think disrupted the flow of the offense?
I think they just played faster. It just was more physical. Tried to blow up handoffs, tried to blow everything up. So we've seen it before. We just didn't match it tonight.
Jaylen, you guys normally on cold shooting nights can dominate the offensive glass. When you're not able to do that, what kind of pressure does that put on your offense overall?
Yeah, a lot of pressure, especially when we're not making shots or when the team is playing a little bit harder than us. So tonight wasn't an example of what we've been doing all season. We've been a harder player team. We offensively down, and we've matched the level of physicality. I think Minnesota exceeded that tonight. But it's a good wake up, and we get back to it. We watch it, learn from it, and move forward.
Yeah, how long do you let this one sit with Oklahoma City coming up on Wednesday?
Not very long. I think it's a good opportunity to learn from this game. Even personally, I feel like sometimes when a game gets away from you a little bit, you want to be more aggressive, and sometimes you need to be more patient. So for me personally, I could have been more patient in a lot of possessions. So definitely something you learn from, watch some film, and you move on to the next.
That's it. And
Can I
that
just
was
say something?
Yeah, he was right. Yeah, go ahead.
So he's talking about the physicality and all that stuff, and we already mentioned in the show, but looking at the roster, John, it's not a team built for physicality like when the playoffs come around. Like
no.
Pritchard, Shireman, 19-year-old Ugo, Hauser, Tatum, who's not really going to be leaning into physicality. I don't want to assume, but in the same sense, coming off the injuries he's coming off of and rehabbing back, I don't think physicality is going to be at the top of his to-do list.
Yeah, he's never been he's not a physical player. I mean, he
never has been. No, I know, but
yeah, right.
Even more so now. I mean, he's more like.
But I mean, the more effective players against him are guys who can be physical with him. So I mean, again, and he's coming back off the injury. So yeah,
right. But question is, Celtics aren't really built to match that. Vucevic, I mean, they're not really built to match that physicality. So if this was a blueprint type of a win for Minnesota, in the sense where I don't think it's a shock to see that this was an effective style of the Celtics, but if this is one of the ways that they can really get to the Celtics, I think you're going to start seeing that more often. And again, as everybody ramps up here, leaning into the playoffs or in the playoffs, that's my big concern, is getting punched in the face and not being able to punch back. I look at the Celtics bench and I give them all the credit in the world for doing what they've been able to do up to this point in the year. But I just don't know if I trust it to continue the way it was. And again, I'm not trying to over this, but
it's not. I mean,
Garza, who's been a great player this year, year for them, but you don't have that. Go on.
No, you're on big delay again.
You there? All right, I'll come back again.
Jimmy. So funny. And yeah, Jimmy's having a tough one. Oh God, thank God Bobby's here.
What's up, John?
Jimmy's on one tonight, buddy.
Should have sounded the alarm.
His camera's skinny. No, it's not that. He's Amit went to fix it, and Jimmy's in some sort of warp thing.
I thought that was just the screen I was looking at. I didn't know.
It's a mess. It's a mess. It's like
just like
tonight's
this game.
Yeah, just like the game. Segue. So physicality seems to be the theme. Bobby, you agree that was the thing that got to them tonight?
Yeah, especially late. I feel like early they did a good job competing with it, and then later in the game they just got overwhelmed to the point where it almost felt like they gave up trying to battle in that area into the late stretch of the fourth. And the game was already over by that point when it got to double digits when they go that small ball lineup. But they didn't have great answers, and as everyone will talk about the defense and the transition and rebounding, all that definitely hurt, but their offense just disappeared in the fourth. They had nothing going. That's obviously going to hurt you on the other end when you're out of control and turn it over. I think I'd imagine Minnesota saw the Memphis tape coming into this one because the Grizzlies did such a great job of attacking the ball against the Celtics, and Timberwolves, once they started doing that tonight, the game changed in their direction. And I think they outscored the Celtics by 14 points from the early second to end of the third. And then fourth was just an avalanche. So it's another game. I mean, what were they, 8-12 at one point against top 10 teams? So a pretty bad showing against what I consider one of the best teams in the league. And obviously they didn't have their star either in this game. So I think there are two things going on here, right? You have the Tatum reacclimation, which is on the downturn of the ups and downs that we expect to see here, and the tough matchup that this and some of the other best teams in the league present for them. And you just saw a bunch of players across the board here disappear, lose, Joe lose faith in them tighten up and just lean on some of their, more reliable players into the late stretches of this game. And things just got worse and worse as they made more and more adjustments. And, I'll throw it to the start of the fourth, John, where it was still a game. I don't know why Joe ended up in a position in this one where Tatum effectively ran out of minutes. Brown's off the floor for some reason or another. And the Wolves effectively went on their run that gave them full control of the game to begin the fourth with Tatum and Brown off the floor. And since Tatum's been back, the Celtics were minus 11 per 100 with Tatum and Brown off the floor. So I don't know if they got their hand forced in some way, or they were just trying to get Tatum going so hard in the third that they ran out of minutes from in the fourth. Something went wrong there badly, and it cost them this game. And I've praised Joe all year. I don't think he managed this game well in a number of ways.
Well, we talked about that. The no Tatum, no Brown lineups I've always thought were a little risky, and they've survived them, but tonight they didn't.
Yeah. And other games leading up to this point, they haven't been great, and they haven't used it a ton. I understand why they still want that to be part of the dynamic, and usually they've gone to that at the beginning of the second. In this game, they used Tatum and Brown throughout the first three quarters and saved that for the start of the fourth. So for some reason or another, probably based on Minnesota's rotations, they flipped that to the second half, and it cost them. And who knows, they probably would have lost this game anyway if it went the way it did in the fourth, with Brown or Tatum on the floor. And Tatum obviously wasn't in great position, aside from that third quarter stretch, to lead the team in this game. So they're searching to some degree, especially in some of these matchups against high caliber competition. And we've talked about it, John. They haven't played a lot of that recently. When they have, they came through against Phoenix. Phoenix missing two starters in that one. So they were hit a little bit too in that game. And otherwise, you've faced pretty poor competition since Tatum's been back overall. Obviously, San Antonio, you didn't get to see it with Brown, and Oklahoma City, Tatum sat out. Those are the two big ones since. But otherwise, it's been bad teams. When you've gone against the great teams, you've competed. You were in this game for a lot of it, right, John? But that's been the story against the best competition they'll see this season is they're right there, but they can't quite close the deal against, let's call it the best 5, 6, 7 teams in the league.
Yeah.
You're 0-2 against Minnesota, 0-2 against Denver, 0-1 against Oklahoma, 0-2 against the Spurs.
Yeah.
1-3 against Detroit, 1-2 against New York. So it's not a pretty picture when you're thinking about the teams that you're trying to compete with. If and again, I've said this all year, John, this can still be a great year without winning a championship. But if you do believe in this team being a championship contender,
well, look,
these are the things that start to crush your dreams a little bit.
People will easily, as soon as if they do go out earlier than expected, everyone will kind of divert back to you didn't expect much from this team anyway, and it was gravy. And next year, when Tatum's healthy, they'll be great. And look at the development and this and that. But we talked about it earlier. The worry is it was all a mirage, right? That's the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is the players didn't develop as much as you think. They were good for regular season, but ultimately there's a ceiling on how far these guys can get. You don't really have any talent that you can really hang your hat on coming out of that crew. You got a bunch of role players, which is nice. And I'm worried about Tatum. What if he doesn't blah, 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 blah. That's going to be there, right? No question about it. So I do think that it's not as easy as, well, we were lucky they got this far, because it means a lot of the things you've started to believe are not true if they fall really flat in the playoffs. And that would be disappointing because the future is different. Can we say that this season was enjoyable in a way we didn't expect? Absolutely, if they go out just for this season. But looking forward down the line, it changes your perception on what this team is and what they can be. And that would be a bit jarring because you might not be as far along. I mean, I said at the beginning when they sold off all those parts, I said, you're looking at 2 years in the tank, not in the tank. I thought this year without Tatum would be in the tank, but you're looking at 2 years with them not being serious contenders, maybe also Rans, until they can maybe reset the table a little bit and start to bring in some other stuff that will help them out, that will stem the losses that they went.
Yeah.
But this year made you feel
ahead of schedule.
This year made you feel like you found it. So if they go deep with this group, you'll feel pretty good about the core. And if they don't, you'll start to have some questions. So again, I think a lot rides on the playoffs. I don't think it's just all gravy, as people like to say. What I do want to say is I still don't have Jimmy Toscano back, but I want to say this. He's trying to figure it out. Guys, did you put that thing on a full screen for me? No, not yet.
I was going to say, John, you can still come out of the season feeling like you're ahead of schedule if you're not a championship contender. You get to these finals, you don't compete well there, you go out in the third round. You're going to feel pretty good about this season. It's if you fade early and things don't translate to the playoffs. And the big thing we've hit on this year, John, is who are the two guys you're going to come out of, or, even one guy I think you'd feel good about. Who are the guys who you're going to carry forward to the next version of this team? Obviously, how Tatum looks by the end of the season is going to be a major development looking forward. And then Jaylen's ability to stack up with some of the top competition in the league, because when you get to that stage of the playoffs, it is a bit, and it's not as much this way anymore. Like the depth will come into play and other things, but Jaylen is going to have to stack up with the best talent in the league to compete at the highest level. And that obviously wasn't the case tonight. He struggled immensely. He wasn't really going mano a mano with anybody necessarily on that Minnesota side, but just facing that whole team, that system. And I've praised the Wolves for a long time. Going back a while, it's still crazy they haven't won since 2005 here, but they've been playing the Celtics tough for years and do a lot of the cutting edge things. And defensively, they're solid. And, offensively, they spread it out, depth contributions, all of that. So this is a great test. Love that team. Even with no Edwards, I felt pretty good about them competing here tonight. So it was a quality opponent, one of the best you'll see. And there's only going to be a handful of those down the stretch of the season. Obviously,
for those who want to see what's going on, this is what's going on with Jimmy Toscano right now, behind the scenes. That's what I'm looking at right now. This is live Jimmy cam. You might be able to hear him in the background. He's just
guys. Why don't you do a show like this?
He's just scrolling through buttons right now.
I'm trying to get HDMI figured out here. Somebody help me.
That's just what I'm looking at behind the scenes here.
Unbelievable.
Okay, Jimmy, we'll check in with you in a little bit, buddy. Hang in there, okay? That's Jimmy Toscano behind the scenes, hanging out.
Ooh,
which is
been a Brockton Wi-Fi run for Jimmy for a little while.
It is. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, it's tough, John. I think, again, it's all going to depend on where you fall in. And I don't care so much about saying, oh, you thought they were good, but they're not great. And that whole thing we might get into come playoff time here. I'll just speak for me personally. I have believed for a lot of the season the level that they've thrived at, that they are legitimate contenders here. A lot of it, and people are going to hate this. They're going to complain about what I'm about to say, but it is such a big part of the story and the dynamic right now, John, is that you're trying to fit Tatum in. You're trying to get him to the level he needs to be at come playoff time, and it's just not going as quickly, as smoothly as you want it to go. And the shooting slump extends here. You hit on it in our text chain, like the confidence that you see in his face is not there right now. I don't know if you've played the sound yet, but not great sound from him after this game. And so I'm not going to sit here and say that Tatum's return has disrupted them from being a championship contender, because you probably were going to need it, and him playing at something close to his level to be in the mix with those teams regardless. Like, all of this could have just burst into flames when you reach the highest level of the playoffs, whether he was there or not. So they're going through the process that they were going to have to go through here regardless. But this is what we're talking about, John. With each game that passes, with each week, month, all that, you're going to get an idea of whether he's just struggling and knocking the rust off and the shooting's a normal slump for him, or if he is, for this season at least, diminished and playing below the level he's at previously. Because, again, through no fault of his own, that could be disruptive to this team's ability to contend if they are trying to continue to fit him in, and it's just not working at the moment. And I mean, what are we, 3 weeks in now? Into the third week here. I'm sure he's hitting something of a wall, because it looks like it, right? Hasn't looked the same with his burst and just the conditioning level and easing into these games. A couple in a row now that he's had 0 up until halftime or right close to it. So he's obviously taken a few steps back here in terms of the progress, and we know it wasn't going to be linear. I'm just saying, John, if this is what it's going to be with him, it's not going to put them in a great position come playoff time.
No, and that's the uncomfortable conversation that a lot of people don't necessarily want to have. That's kind of what we're having right now. Jimmy Toscano's hopefully going to be back in a little bit. Before he does get back, we do want to tell you, and it's very apropos as we're struggling here, we are moving on to our final phenomenal region bracket. And guys, behind the scenes here, we can change the poll. We have Jimmy's Delay, number 3, versus versus JB's Fighting Sash. We don't have a clip of JB's Fighting Sash, but Jimmy's Delay, we know all too well.
This show might give that a
entered
boost.
The studio, which means this Jimmy Toscano is
the imposter.
Is an imposter. Get rid of him, imposter Jimmy.
Vanished.
Let's bring in real Jimmy.
There's the real Jimmy. What do you actually feel?
What I missed?
Imposter Jimmy.
What did I miss?
Well, welcome to the show.
And we got the whole Jaylen soundbite there. But Bobby, one of the things I asked Sherrod,
being able to
this
play
was
in this
based
role
on
for a lot of
your
your career,
question
obviously
to
with Jason back,
Brown,
there's
was,
no onus on trying to work him
the
in,
whole
and you've had to
balancing of
sacrifice a little bit during that. What is the mindset of obviously you've been
Here we go.
MVP talks this
Okay.
year and have had a career season, now having to balance that with
Oh, I never thought I was
obviously
gonna hear
what's best
that
for the team
again.
here. How do you approach that late in the season?
That was great.
Yeah, it takes humility.
I'm with Jimmy. Garza's got to be ahead of him on the food chain when he comes back, wouldn't you think?
I mean, I don't know, because in theory he was ahead of him at the trade deadline, right? And then Vucevic came in and immediately kind of took his spot, which is a.
And what I do want to say is right now, as we're gonna try, are we trying? Oh my God, I thought Jimmy was coming back. When I went to check on the poll results in YouTube right now, and again, as we said, you guys can vote right now on that one. We're putting it up. It's our final phenomenal bracket. Matchup of the night. I went there and it puts up an AI chat summary with what was going on. Here's the AI chat summary on our YouTube page right now. Hold on, let me get this out of here. Let me get this Jimmy's clip out of here. Here's our AI chat summary of what's going on. Viewers in the chat are saying they are worried about the streamer's well-being and discussed recent basketball team performances. They are expressing opinions about player matchups. They're worried about Jimmy. They're worried about Jimmy's well-being right now. That's what the AI chat.
I'm back.
They're worried about the.
Have no fear.
Viewers in the chat are worried about the streamer's well-being.
So this looks like 4K, Jimmy.
I was just on the horn with Amit. He's gonna have to come over again and figure this whole thing out. But I'm back for
You're
the time
stressing
being.
him out, Jimmy.
Yeah, he's not happy with me right now. He's not happy with me. Nor should he be. But
you look good.
I'm back. I'm back until I'm not. Let's leave it at that, Bobby. What happened to the Celtics tonight, dude?
We've been talking about it in your absence. It's a competition here. I think when they've gone up against the best teams in the league, they've competed. They've been close, but they're not quite there being able to close out wins against those teams. And another factor in this one was obviously Tatum struggles.
Again, we were having the Tatum convo. We may as well hear from him because Bobby said there's a lot going on, right, Jimmy? We talked about it earlier.
It's not my Wi-Fi.
You're trying to. Who are you? Are you talking? You're just having your own conversation, or
I'm just seeing what the chat is saying.
Just muttering. Okay.
My Wi-Fi is fine.
When you do that, I get concerned because I don't know if you're responding to something I said.
They're worried about your well-being.
They're worried about the chat's worried about your well-being.
No,
but
I don't think there's a delay. I think we're good.
Okay, so when I was watching, what we don't know is, did he settle in? There was a lot of commentary before the game here. Jaylen Brown was on with ABC, and he's talking about them communicating about figuring out their roles. NBC, sorry. Even the Finch, the Timberwolves coach, also said the same thing. It's very clear JB is the man, and Tatum's just trying to integrate and being more of a facilitator. And it feels like Tatum's also realized that in the last few games. All right, I guess I'm going to be, the beta bro here for a little bit, and that's fine. But it's weird for him because sitting in the corner is odd. But also at the same time, he's trying to find what he can do. And I think a game like Memphis and a game like tonight starts to get in his mind a little. Wait, can I do any of this stuff? What can I do? What should I do? So there's a mental component as well. And then Bobby mentioned, he's after the game, he's still kind of battling through some of that stuff, just trying to figure out what he's feeling. So let's hear from Tatum after tonight's game.
How are the Wolves able to hold you guys down most of the night?
They just picked up the pressure, physicality, forced some turnovers, especially in that second quarter. We got to take care of the ball a little bit better.
Jayson, since you come back, it's felt like you picked up the pace a little bit in the third quarter.
Are those pajamas?
The third, it happened in your opening game. Is there something about needing to get in the flow of things a little bit that you think has helped, as the game progresses? Is there anything about the third quarter in particular that you feel more comfortable as the game goes on?
I'm still just trying to figure it out. It's been a long time. It's only my 8th game, so still just trying to get a feel for it.
You say the shooting so far is kind of just a normal slump that you would go through at any time in your career, or more of a factor of trying to get everything back from the injury? Which of the two do you think is more so?
I wouldn't say normal slump because that's the first time I went through something like this. It's just been a long time. It's a long time before I could shoot a basketball, before I could walk. Just trying to knock the rust off game by game. I find great spurts and moments from game to game, and just trying to put more of them together.
Just when you say you're still trying to figure it out, what does that feel like or look like to you? What are the areas that you're trying to kind of get that rhythm back to where it used to be?
Slow down sometimes. It's just kind of like a rhythm in the field thing. It's just been a while.
Can you explain, when you're going through the rehab, there's a lot of boxes that you check, you trying to get strength back and all of that stuff kind of seems like very methodical. Game is kind of free-flowing. What's the difference for you in measuring your progress? Is it a mental thing? How do you measure your progress now versus before?
For me, it's mental. It's a lot of things I talked to Nick about. Just things that I noticed throughout a game. Certain plays, certain moments of contact, certain things of explosion, things of attacking, getting downhill, the pace and speed of certain plays that just felt really normal, felt really good, or I didn't think about it at all. Just finding more and more moments of those from game to game that get me really excited.
How much grace do you feel like you're giving yourself during this stretch? Do you find yourself getting frustrated when things aren't going exactly as you planned, or did you know this was going to be really hard, so not every quarter is gonna be perfect. Like, how are you kind of dealing with that part?
I mean, I didn't know how this shit was gonna be. I mean, it's tough in the moment, right? You try not to think about it. You just want to be Jayson Tatum and feel like yourself again. I'm not Superman, so it's obviously gonna take some time. I think the next day I can give myself a little more grace over certain things, but in the moment, it's frustrating.
Did you feel like you earned that first tech of the season?
No, not really. I was frustrated. He wasn't responding. He didn't like the way I was communicating. I asked for a tech, and he gave it to me. I ask for fouls all the time. I don't get those, so. But, I asked for the tech, and he gave it to me, so I thought that was kind of funny.
Just is there a level of, like, in your head, is the clock ticking before the playoffs? Are you saying to yourself, like, I got to be myself before the real ball begins, or are you kind of just taking it day by day?
Just taking it day by day. It's I have probably the worst injury you can have, and I came back in 10 months and getting better, and just better feel each game. I wanted to be perfect, and first team All NBA Jayson like that, but it's gonna take time. I didn't rush the rehab process, so I can't rush this. It's all gonna work out.
Last question.
We talk about the physical versus the mental. Physical, you can measure, force and speed and all that stuff. The mental stuff, how are you attacking that? Is it talking to friends and family? Is it a sports psychologist? How are you attacking that part of the rehab?
Yeah, it's a group of people, people that have been through this, medical team, my mom, Deuce. I talk to everybody. Just like I have throughout, since I had surgery, the communication, the people that have lent their hand out to, as a resource to be helpful, guys in the league, guys that's retired.
I don't know why I'm still listening to this. I'm sorry, but we got the crux of it.
What dispiriting.
I wasn't. I definitely. Sleepy Tatum is one thing. Sad and wistful Tatum, and dispirited. Like, that's hard to. That's kind of.
That's how he looked out on the floor tonight.
He did a little.
Yeah. Again, you expected this stuff to happen.
Well, I guess I'll ask this question, because again, I want to be fair. A couple games ago, we were really excited because it looked closer to a regular version of Tatum. Last two games have looked, I don't want to say steps back because we keep saying the same thing. Progress isn't linear, and I don't actually expect, and I don't think anybody reasonably expects, he's going to turn a corner physically beyond rhythm and game shape and speed of the game this year, but I don't think all of a sudden he's going to just start jumping, higher. That's not happening now throughout this run. So you're going to get a somewhat reduced version, which is fine. I think everyone's okay with that. But you catch the glimpses and you get a little bit ahead of yourselves, like, oh, if it's that, because again, we're going to sit here and say it's a remarkable recovery to come back quickly and all that. I think some people were kind of hoping maybe that remarkable recovery is, has resulted in him being close to all the way back, and it's not. So there's a little bit of a reality check there, I think, for fans and for Tatum, which is a little bit dispiriting. And then you kind of go into the whole, well, it's a miracle he's back anyway, and all of that stuff. And again, it's fine, but they're two separate conversations. It's the fact that he came back at all and the fact that he's playing, you have to set your expectations differently. But as you said, Bobby, can you win with a version of Tatum that is significantly less than the best version of himself? Is it close enough? And again, you look at the numbers, he's at or around close to 20 points per game since coming back. His minutes are up over 30. The shooting splits are bad. 40-30 shooting splits aren't going to be great. It's going to get tougher when the playoffs roll around as well. Is that good enough? That's just the question we're going to keep asking ourselves all season.
Win a championship? Probably not. Again, was this team ready to do that regardless? Probably not. So you're gonna look at it and say it's probably what it'll be if this is the Tatum they're getting, as much as it was what it was going to be before that. Like, I don't think there's what I'm trying to say is I don't think his return and his struggles are going to knock them back off some great run that they were going to go on without him necessarily. Like, that's, to me, the starting point there. At the same time, it's going to be interesting to see how they manage his struggles. Everything aside from the scoring and shooting, I think to this point has been additive. But shooting and scoring is a big part of the game, John. And when we get into an extended stretch here where he's struggling to do that and get to his spots and create leverage, he didn't get an assist in this game until late in the second quarter either.
But he had potential assists. But
yeah,
he did. Look, I think he's moving the ball okay. That's not really it. It's really Tatum standing in the corner is weird. That's just not how he's going to be at his best. That's not how he helps the team.
Weird look, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's a product of how well Jaylen's played and what they've done going in the other direction this season, that they've gone away from Tatum's ball time. So
and Jaylen came out not only scoring, but facilitating early too. So he looked good in his role in the beginning, and then I think everything just evolved into weird ISO ball, and they upped the physicality and really started putting pressure on the ball. And the Celtics came to pieces there on uncharacteristic turnovers, transition buckets the other way, and then they just got cold. They couldn't really get anything going. But yeah, save for that little stretch in the third quarter, you didn't really get much for Jayson Tatum. I
was just going to say, too, you come out of halftime and run a nice play for him. You give him a bunch of opportunities at the beginning of that quarter, and that makes you say, well, were there moments in the first half where you could have done that? Because obviously that became a priority coming out of halftime. I don't think he's giving any less effort in the other areas when he's not scoring, like in the first half there. Yeah. At the same time, you do want him involved, and you don't want him just standing in the corner. There was even a moment where he got a nice drop-off pass to Keita. Keita missed it and ended up putting it back in himself. But just getting them the touches, just finding ways to get him involved. Good things are going to happen when he touches the ball, more or less. And some of these shots are frustrating. At the same time, it's important that you work him back in.
Bobby, let me hit you up. And again, I went through my whole I hate to do it, but I went through my panic meter. God, every time
close up.
Every time I do that,
is this your panic face? Panic
it boots me off my camera and it boots me off my mic. It's a glitch in the thing, and it sends me to the Facebook.
It's one of those nights, yeah.
No, it's just a thing. When I play one of those things now, it kicks me off of all of my stuff. So for the panic meter, I went through all of my biggest concern with the team is not Tatum. I think I have realistic expectations for what Tatum's going to be for the rest of the year, and I think it makes them better. I don't know if it makes them good enough. It certainly makes them better, and that's fine. And they'll figure it out. They'll figure out how it works with whatever they have going. He'll figure out what he can be, and they'll get the best they can get out of it. It's going to make him better. It's the other stuff, which is ironically going to put a bigger burden on Tatum and make it look like he's struggling more than he is if all of these supporting role players who have done a really good job in Tatum's absence this year, and you're talking about the scrappy guys, the Shiremans, the Garzas, turn into pumpkins here. And you watch a game like tonight and you watch Garza, and everyone goes from, geez, should he be pressing Keita for minutes?
Tough.
And this guy play it all in the playoffs. And you're going to go back and forth on that stuff there too. It's like, so how much of this is fool's gold here based off of like what you saw in this game? And again, this was one of those games where you're like, man, I don't know how Garza is going to hold up in the playoffs, and the pendulum swings completely in the other direction.
Yeah, and I think a number of guys are going through that, along with the workload, fatigue, injury, maybe in some cases too. Pritchard, we've discussed at moments. Keita, certainly, and Keita did not have trust in this game either, and they go to Garza in the fourth, then they go to Small.
Why is that?
They didn't have great. I think these guys have just never done this before.
Why no confidence in Keita? This is what I don't get.
Few rough finishes inside. He just didn't put an imprint on this game.
Freaking live with it. It's the best option you have, and it's not honestly that close. Like, just live with it. And again, he still played 27 minutes, But again,
I think Garza played him the other night, and they
fine.
wanted
But
to see if that could
sometimes
continue.
you're just going to lose the center battle. Sometimes it's not going to go great, but it's probably your best option most nights. Unless you want to abandon it completely and go small ball. But like
that hasn't done anything yet.
It hasn't done anything. It hasn't.
And they've tried that in probably four games at this point, and they lose those minutes, and nothing looks good. Like I can't even imagine what they envisioned going to that look right now. And it happened way too late in this game. And I think there's been a few far spots where I've been like, why not try it? You're going to need that. They're not playing Amari, so that's not an option, obviously, for them. Ugo and Walsh were guys early in the season that gave you some good minutes at the 5, and they don't want to go back there either, it seems. And they're just throwing Tatum there because I guess they're hoping something happens at that position for him. And I think Tatum has enough on his plate.
I thought Queta held up fine in this game. I thought Queta held up fine in this game. I thought he was doing fine against Rudy early. And again, he still played 27 minutes. It's not like they went away from him completely in this game. You just saw, he played more than his season average in terms of minutes. So this wasn't one of those.
They might have front-loaded his minutes and had to go to Garza in the 4th too. That definitely could have been the case.
And again, maybe you want some more shooting and you put Garza out there, but they didn't go away from Queta in this game here. By any
in the 4th quarter, I meant,
in the 4th quarter. But you want some more shooting out there, and you're trying something a little bit different, but it didn't work. Jimmy, are we trying this again, or are you still fiddling here?
That's why you want some optionality at center too. And Vucevic, we'll see. They said on the broadcast Friday, Johnny's going to get an X-ray Sunday and could be back next week. So that'd be good to have him in the mix for the final week or two there. Obviously, my guess when it happened was that we wouldn't see him the rest of the way in the regular season. But if he's going to get, let's say, 6, 7, 8 games before the season ends, it's nice to have another guy in that mix. And that is the upshoot of that trade, is on a night like this, John, where Garza's struggling and Queta isn't performing great. That's where you try a Vucevic in a spot like this, and you might get something there. So it is nice to have that optionality potentially in the playoffs. Again, it's just something to keep an eye on. I think Garza's been playing well since Vucevic went down. I want to say in all but 1 or 2 games, Garza's been a plus in the plus-minus. Queta feels like he's hitting a little bit of a wall here physically this season. I've talked a bunch about, just the load that they've put on his body this year has been enormous. And I think you're seeing just the product of a demand on him that he's never played through before, and just the overall demand of going through an NBA season for the first time. And that's going to be part of their run too. I was saying this to someone in the cafeteria before the game, John. There is a world where they fall short this year just because so many of these guys have never been through a run like this. And the demands of not only the 82, but then the first round and all those minutes that it entails, and then the second, third. The intensity of a playoff run is obviously something that is different from anything you've ever gone through.
And that's what you're worried about. Yeah.
We're like, whoa, Holiday in 21 with the Bucks was like, I couldn't believe how hard that was. Yeah. It's a lot.
It's
and none of these guys have done it aside from me before.
You know what else is hard? But Bobby has done it before. The Boston Marathon here, and Bobby will give you one plug here on the show before we take off.
Yeah, half marathon in the books yesterday. Thrilled with how it went. So the practice runs in the books, and now less than a month to go here. But I wouldn't worry about the running. I'm worried about getting some money to Beth Israel, who took great care of my dad when he was battling cancer about a decade ago now. So running in his memory, I want to bring family together, friends, people who knew him, and have that day be in his memory. And we're about just over halfway to our goal. Another great run of contributions after last show. So appreciate everybody who's chipping in after these shoutouts we're giving here at the end. And obviously the links below to find out a little bit more about why I'm running and what it's going toward and all of that. So appreciate it so far. We're making that last push over the last 3 to 4 weeks here. And you guys, the viewers, have been huge help. So I can't thank you enough. This is obviously a cause that's very important to me.
Thank you guys for chipping in. If you can dig a little deeper, whether it's now or a week from now, a couple weeks from now, help Bobby hit his goal. All of us here at CLNS Media and the Garden Report would appreciate that greatly. So again, thank you guys for watching and contributing to our causes here.
If we do hit the goal, I'll wear a bucket hat, at least to start the race.
couple programming reminders. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and to the Garden Report here. Rate and review it if you listen to the audio version on Spotify or what's the other one? Apple. You can do that for sure. Yeah. And again, go vote in our brackets. We've seen that one for sure. But check that out.
Jimmy's going to run away with it now.
Jimmy might be running away with it. Friggin' right. This was performative by Jimmy. He cooked it. Lastly, we do want to let you know, just one more shout out for our sponsor, PrizePicks. Use the code CLNS 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Really cool stuff going on right now with the tournament as well. It's team picks markets. Yeah, pick game winners, spreads, and totals on top of the player picks that you already know about. So it's a lot of fun. Check out PrizePicks. Download the app, code CLNS 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And again, Celtics Daily, subscribe to that. Bobby's Off Day podcast, Big Three with Sherrod Blakely. Got to check that one out as well. And you want to check out You Got Boston with Noah. We'll have that one coming up later. Hopefully we'll get Noah on a show later this week, possibly versus OKC, and get her take on things there. But the Celtics do go down tonight unexpectedly to a shorthanded Minnesota Timberwolves team. This is it. This is the last really great test coming up on Wednesday against OKC. Should be a lot of fun. We got a couple nights off, but again, Bobby will have you covered.
Jaylen Williams back for that one too.
Jaylen Williams is back. Yeah, I think he's back tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's back. So they'll be pretty close to fully loaded. That should be interesting to see. Should be a lot of fun. But again, thank you guys for hanging out here tonight with us as the Celtics do go down. We will be back on Wednesday. Till then, take care.